This is Jamie Dyer welcoming you to another edition of the Quo-Cast. And it's a bit of a different one today, something I'm trying that maybe we'll do more in the future, but I don't know whether you can tell, but I am very, very nervous because for my listeners and for my viewers, I've got my first electric guitar in my hand, which I don't normally talk about this really too much. In fact, I certainly not in front of the Quo-Cast audience because there came a point where I kind of had to pick between the two. That's how it felt, you know. And while I do enjoy playing at home, I don't really do it in public per se. This is about as public as I've been for many years. And I prefer talking about the band these days, but I'm doing this and conquering a fear somewhat and anxiety and nervousness, mainly to ask the question, did the band inspire you to pick up the guitar? Because for me, yes, they did. I got an acoustic guitar, but I wasn't really that interested, to be honest, because with the acoustic guitar, it didn't have the sound I wanted, and the books that I bought about playing the guitar, it didn't have the stuff in it I was looking for, and you'd speak to people and no one would kind of identify with what you wanted to play. And so what ends up happening, you know, is that guitar kind of sits by the wayside, and then you think, well, I want to get an electric guitar because that is what Rick Parfitt and Francis Rossi and co are playing. And so I bought this, which is a Tanglewood Stratocaster copy, not a Telecaster, I know, of any kind, but I didn't know much about guitars at the time and just thought, that looks good, I'll go with that. I think I like the color, which for our listeners is a dark medium blue. And to be honest, I didn't know very much about playing. I just kind of went up and down the neck once I tuned it up, and eventually you just find yourself playing very basic, like 12-bar runs, trying to be like Rick Parfitt, you know, stuff going in the key of A, you know, like... Oh, I should apologize. I'm struggling to keep this in tune. The strings have been on here a while. I play at home. Bear that in mind. You know, and then you just end up doing this stuff. You end up doing that kind of thing and just messing around, really. And I still don't have the technique correctly because there's a certain technique and it took me years to put the thumb behind the neck and stuff like that. And I started posting videos on YouTube very quickly, much too quickly, and basically showing myself up, just having a great time doing that sort of 12-bar, you know, and just finding different songs and posting daily. But I was rehearsing daily so that my hands, you know, were getting quite strong at doing this stuff, even if my technique wasn't perfect. And I stumbled upon a couple of other YouTubers at the time, Chris Fernihue and Joachim, who's now in Sound of Status. And I learned a lot from them. I can't say if they learned anything from me, but I learned a lot from them. And, you know, I enjoyed putting stuff up. I enjoyed seeing where they were. They are way past where I am, you know, then and now. It was amazing, really. But then my life personally was going in that I was studying media at the time. So I was sort of behind the camera and like I do radio stuff outside, you know, and so I was going in that direction. And really the guitar, I wasn't looking to kind of be in a band or anything, although I think if I'd been offered the opportunity, I probably would have taken it. So I didn't go in that direction. And sorry, I'm so nervous talking about this. Really not something I talk about very often. And so, yeah, I just kept playing at home, doing the odd gig by myself, because if there's one thing that Quo taught me is the idea that you don't have to be like an expert. You can just like go and have fun with it. You don't have to take yourself too seriously. You can just go on the stage and sing free chord songs, because I'd go there and it'd be a rock band doing really complicated like runs and reels and stuff. And then other, like, I remember I entered a competition once and it was a flamenco guitarist thing, you know, and yeah, flamenco duo. And it's like, wow, I feel really out of it. But when I looked at the crowd, while, you know, doing the riff to Caroline and, you know, all this sort of, all that stuff, I could see everyone was having a great time when I was playing, even if I was terrible, because the music is just fun, you know, and it led me on to so many different things. Like when you first learn to play Quo, and like I learned on like Mark Ellis stuff, because a lot of the Mark Ellis stuff is like that, like very simple bluesy kind of things which just go up like that, like not quite this fast, but you know. So they sort of do that, and then you end up listening to other music and you can hear stuff going on. You go, oh, they're playing that in G, like, you know, they're doing that. They're playing that in G. So you start playing along with them. And I've discovered so many, like browsing around YouTube and Spotify. And from Quo, like I discovered a lot of the early kind of rock and roll records, and you became a fan of that. And blues and country, and like when my wife introduced me to people like Jerry Reed, there was still some of those things in there. And so, you know, I end up going to all these different genres, and it all stems from what I learned playing Quo on guitar and becoming a fan of these genres. And now, funnily enough, I write reviews for a website. It's my job. That's one of the jobs that I do, ways of earning an income. I write reviews on new releases of older like rock and roll music and stuff like that. And it all started, you know, from learning to play Status Quo and discovering all kind of the 12-bar tricks and the free chord stuff, and learning sometimes that there are other things in that free chord sequence that, you know, people go, well, it's just free chords. It's like, no, actually it's like 5 in there, you know, little inversions that are in there. And yeah, it led me. I've got this Tanglewood guitar, and then I've also got a semi-hollow body guitar that I've had for a few years now, mainly to play like Chuck Berry and Buddy Holly, because, you know, you learn like open chords and you end up going, you know, all that kind of chord progression, all that sort of stuff. And I just have a great time with it. And while I'm not the greatest, I just enjoy it, you know. And it's one thing that I've learned all this time later. You learn all these different like tricks. Like you're watching Rick Parfitt play, and he's doing the Caroline thing, and then he does that in the middle. You know, like he's Dwayne Eddy. Like it's like, what? He's like doing that, which loads of people have done, like Eddie Cochran, you know, all those early like rock and rollers. And I guess that's what makes that line, "Together we can rock and roll," even more powerful, is that those little like references to rock and roll's past at that point. So yeah, that is like a little taste of where I am, I guess, where I've been. I mean, I'm still at that thing where you can tell I'm really nervous of the idea of like exhibiting, because I've been to concerts, you know, seeing Quo tribute bands and stuff, and I'm in awe of the stuff. I still can't do like the Roadhouse Blues and stuff like that. You know, that's still quite difficult to do, that muting and all these different techniques. But sometimes it's a good idea just to You know, all that stuff. Yeah. So, sorry for being so rambly, but this is just kind of a thing. Did they inspire you to play the guitar? And where did that journey take you? I would love to know. Let me play you out. I would play you out with the Quo-Cast theme tune, because I actually played that. I think it's that. Now, it's worth noting, I haven't got this plugged into an amp. It's just plugged straight into my desk, so you're getting the clean feed. But I would play out with kind of the Rick Parfitt thing, although I do need to take lessons at some point. If someone wants to teach me on here, like little techniques to do with kind of rock music or you know, anything like that, then greatly appreciated. Terrible tuning and a lot of buzzing, but apologies. Oh, I guess that's the other thing, you know, the softer ride thing, all that stuff, you know, great fun. Anyway, thanks for tuning into this edition of the Quo-Cast. I'm going to go and rock out now.